Puranaanam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavadpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayam Sutrabhashyakado Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Ukarasvandhakaro Vai Ukarastanivartakaha Andhakaraniyoditvat Guruvityavidiyate Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavaihi Om Shanti 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 Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Nande Jagadgurum Om Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Is it quick?
Om Shri Bhagavan Vacha.
Anashritah karma palam.
Anashritah karma palam.
Karyam karma karoti yaha.
Karyam karma karoti yaha.
Sasanyasi cha yogi cha.
Sasanyasi cha yogi cha.
Na niragnirna chakriyaha.
Na niragnirna chakriyaha.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita is, as we know, what Bhagavan spoke to Arjuna about, and it comes as part of the Shanti Parva of Mahabharata. I think it's Shanti Parva, I'm not sure, but yeah, part of Mahabharata. The context is to present if a jiva is having a conversation, samvada, with Ishvara, how would it be? Okay. That is the presentation. And our Astika Shraddha is the Mahabharata happened over 5,000 years ago, and the Kurukshetra battlefield is where this samvada actually happened. And Vyasacharya is the one who compiled it. Whatever Bhagavan said, spoke to Arjuna about, was compiled into 700 shlokas by Vedavyasa. That is how Adi Shankaracharya introduces Bhagavad Gita, saying that the verses were Vyasa's composition, even though the Shraddha is Bhagavan spoke. But obviously he didn't speak in terms of those specific verses, right? He gave a message, and that was composed into these 700 verses by Vedavyasa. And Shankaracharya also introduces this as saying, this is Vedartha Sara Sangraha Bhuta. Whatever is the message of Veda, it is in a concise way, the essence of it is presented in the form of Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is representing what Vedas is conveying. Okay. And therefore Bhagavad Gita becomes also a pramana for us. Okay. So like Jaishankar ji spoke, there are three prasthanas we talk about. Three primordial set of texts that becomes the medium by which this jnanam is taken forward. Okay. So this is how we teach. We basically teach three broad texts. The primary one is called the Shruti Prasthana, that is the Veda. Okay. Shruti is the word used for Veda because it is Shruta, means it was heard. Okay. We say Veda is, the tradition considers Veda as Apaurushayam. Apaurushayam means, Purusha means human effort. Apaurushayam means human effort actually. Apaurushayam means something which was not created through human effort. Okay. Means it was heard. by rishis. Rishayaha mantra drashtaraha, he said. So, at the time of creation, Vedas also were there. Okay, in fact, it is said, Yasya Nishwasitam Veda. So, when there is a shloka to Bhagavan which says, for whom the breath is Veda. Breathing is the life, right? If there is no breath, there is no life. So, when you are living, that means you are breathing. So, Bhagavan is breathing because of Veda. That means Bhagavan is Veda. Okay, that is how it is said. And Bhagavan, so through Veda only the creation happens, we say. But the most important thing is the Veda itself was there at the time of creation. That is the thing, right? So that means it was not created within the creation. So the rishis only heard through the meditative state. They got this. That is our Shraddha. Okay. Now that is the primary prasthana. That is our primary means of knowing. And we'll talk about means of knowing. I know Jaishankarji covered it in parts, but we'll talk about it in a bit. Now that is the Shruti Prasthana, we say, the first set of text which is Veda. The second is the Smriti. Smriti means the one that is recollected. So whatever is heard from Shruti by rishis, the same thing is presented in another way. Okay, that is Smriti. So Bhagavad Gita is considered as Smriti. That is why I said, Shankaracharya said, Vedartha Sara Sangraha Bhuta. So whatever is the content of Veda is what is there in Bhagavad Gita also. In fact, verbatim there are verses that is here which comes from Mundaka-upanishad, Katha-upanishad and all that. Okay. So it is an indication to say that all that is here is what is there in Veda. In order to show that, Vyasa uses the same verses here. Okay. So this also becomes another means of knowing for us because it is Veda only. We consider Bhagavad Gita as Veda. Okay. And the third is the Brahma Sutra, which is basically Mimamsa. It is an analysis text. What does it analyze? The Veda only it analyzes. Okay, it picks up some portions of Veda and then it analyzes what is the intent of those statements. Okay. Therefore, it is also means of knowledge because again the source is only Veda. So essentially, though we talk about three prasthanas, finally we say Veda only is the means of knowledge. Okay. All the others are only Veda. Okay. So that is the context of Bhagavad Gita becoming a means of knowing. Okay. So before we go to means of knowing, I said this is a samvada between Jiva and Ishvara. Okay. Now we need to understand what is Jiva, what is Ishvara, right? And what are the things that we have to know in the world. So when we say I am having a world experience, okay, when I get up, I have a world experience, right? The whole thing is experience. Everything that is here is just an experience that I am having. Okay, I am having an experience of me, I am having experience of you, I am having experience of the surrounding, whatever. The experience happens, then I go to sleep. Another set of experience happens, I go to sleep. Okay, this is what is called life. Now in this experience, if you analyze at basic level, even though I see so many things, they reduce to first three things. Okay, we call it as Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. That is static, is it? Echo.
No, the bus.
Oh, bus. Okay. So I'll keep it really far, then you have to adjust the volume or I'll speak up. Okay. If you are not hearing properly, let me know. I'll just keep it little away.
It's okay.
This is fine?
Yeah.
So, I was saying there are three things. In broadly you can classify into three things, right? Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. Finally we will say there are only two things, okay? Aham, Naham, okay? But right now just say there are three things. Because those three things are addressed in Gita, so I am saying there are three things, right? Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. These are three. Now Jiva, so what is this, right? So when I say I am experiencing a world, one is I am experiencing life forces. Okay, I don't want to say living creatures or something. When you say living being, that includes my body, everything, right? So if I say life force, I am just using that word, right? That means what is called that which gives life to this body. Okay, that is what we are calling as Jiva. Okay, just for simplicity, take it like that. Okay, I am saying there are so many lives which are there. There are human beings, there are plants, there are animals, whatever species, amoeba, bacteria, whatever. All this collection, individually these are called jivas. Okay. And then, but whether jiva exists or not is another question. You are saying, right? The science, it's not very, so some people say, is there something called jiva, right? Or is it a product of matter? The consciousness, is it independent of matter or is it a product of matter? That itself is a question. Okay? Now let's assume for now there is jiva. Okay, at least you see there is life around you. Okay, that's one. Then you have the jagat, the things that you are experiencing. Of course, the other jivas are also your experience. But then you don't see the jivas. You only, jivas in the life force, right? You see people moving, so you know that they are conscious entities. But in your jagat, the world experience, they are all there. Okay, so there is inert matter, there is sun, there is moon, there are mountains, there is emotion. All these things are there, right? The experiences that you are having. So that is the jagat. Then the third is an inferred thing. So if there is so much intelligence in everything, right? So he was talking about phenomena, right? Sight is a phenomenon. You can only explain how it is happening, but why it is not happening, why it happens in a certain way, why I see, I have 5 senses, why some other animal has only 3 senses, or some birds have only whatever, limited senses, right? So in fact, Vivekananda used to say, if we had a 6th sense, other than smell, touch and all that, your worldly experience will be very different, right? If you have only 4 experience, your world experience is again very different. Right? So which means your sensory perceptions drive how your world experience is. But then there is a lot of intelligence within each of the sense. So if I have to see, so many things have to work. So the light has to reflect and it has to fall into my retina, my nerves have to work, it has to be registered in my brain. And all these mean there is intelligence. Somebody or some force has thought through how this should work. You can't say it automatically happens. Because anything which is intelligently there, Swamiji used to give an example. Suppose I say this laptop comes from Manasarovar lake. He used to give an example. When people, suppose somebody tells you, every day morning at 6:30 in Manasarovar a stream comes out, which brings out thousands of laptops, people collect it and sell. You won't believe it, right? Why you won't believe? Because laptop, even though you don't see a maker of the laptop, but the intelligence in the laptop, you can infer that there is an intelligent creator behind it. Okay. No, whether that creator is a human being type of person, like Christianity and others say, or is it something beyond that, is something we need to find out. But you can infer that there is an intelligent creator or creating entity which created this intelligence. So everything is intelligence. See this wrist, how it functions. Has it been recreated even in a robo in the perfect way? Not yet. Right? So there is so much intelligence you don't know how to replicate. Like if there is rain, suppose that's what they will say, right? When I say there is rain here, why does it rain here? You can say, okay, there were clouds or there is something happening. Now why does it rain here but not in some other place? Again you can physically or scientifically explain it. But then why is that place so unfortunate that it doesn't get rain? And why is this place fortunate that it gets rain, right? Why is somebody having wealth when they are born? Why is somebody born unhealthy or something? You don't have answers to it. So all these things imply there is certain intelligence and there is certain cause why it is like that. So you can infer that. That is called Ishvara. Now, whether there is one Ishvara, there are hundreds of Ishvaras, we have to again analyze. Okay? So Ishvara has to be there. So Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, within these things, all your experience can be summed up. Right? There is nothing beyond that. So there is me and there is non-me. And because this me and non-me is linked through some intelligence which I haven't created, so there should be something which should have created. So within these three, you can say all my experience can be summed up. Now Gita is addressing all these three. Essentially, the whole pursuit is to understand me, non-me and Ishvara. Okay, Jiva Jagat Ishvara is what is to be understood. But then you will have a question, why should I even understand this? What is in it for me? Right? Whoever be the Ishvara, let him be wherever. I don't care. Right? So that is where why has to be answered. Right? Now the question is, if Ishvara is somebody who is sitting in somewhere heaven, and then just if I pray to him, he gives me some lollipop, That kind of Ishvara has only a limited value, right? Whatever, when I need, I go and pray, I get whatever I want. But here Shastra says, see, that Ishvara also creates a fear in you, because you don't know why you are like this, what offense you committed. See, again, the guilt and hurt is another big problem. Did I pray properly? Did I pray to the right God? See, that's another thing they have created. No, only my God is the God. Okay, your God is not even a God. That's what they say in other religions. No, everybody has this confusion. Am I following the right God? Because if you don't follow the right God, you will go to hell. Okay, you will be going to not only temporary hell, eternal hell. Okay, just because, and somebody is born without even knowing that this day is the God. Okay, he is born somewhere in Anaikatti. Let's say in those days, these days everywhere there are churches and mosques, right? But in those days somebody is born, that's what the Shankaracharya said, Sringeri Acharya, in 1930s he said, there are people born in so many parts of the world that they don't even know that this day is the God. Now, is it their fault that they are born that way? If he was the God, at the time of creation itself we should have told, I am the God. What is the point? In between the creation, he comes, sends somebody one day and then says, I am the God. You go and tell them. So what about people who are born? I am not saying all this. That Shankaracharya has said, okay, because it's all going on YouTube. So he said that whoever was born before before 2000 years, what mistake they committed, that they didn't even know who the God is. Okay. Now even today there are people who are born in remote places who don't know who this God is, right? Now should I be afraid that I will be going to hell is a question, right? And so we don't know. So this God thing. But Shastra says, so this fear is a big thing, right? But Shastra says this Jiva Jagat Ishvara are all same. Okay, one and same. And it includes time, space, objects, whatever, right? So there is only one Brahmastu. Now what problems this solves is very interesting, right? It solves almost all problems. Because the example that is typically given in Shastra is, suppose a pot. A pot has intelligence, let's say. Every pot and lid and jar has intelligence. And they can think. So how will they think? So this pot will think, oh, I have been created in a crooked way. I am a small pot. This next pot is a bigger pot. And that pot is painted in a golden color. I am a dark colored pot. And I am just used for drinking tea. My life is only one tea sip. After that I will be destroyed, okay? But this jar lives for 5 years. Some jars which are porcelain, they live even thousands of years, right? You go to museum, you will find pots which are like 2,800 years old in Egypt, okay? So now all the problems are there for the pot, right? Every type of problem is there. Time problem, space problem, object problem, all three are there, right? Now this pot is given the knowledge, all that is there is only clay. Whether you are a jar, whether you are a pot, whether you are a lid, you are nothing but clay. He is also clay, you are also clay, that he also is clay. Okay, and it is way to understand that. It is not just saying. It has to realize that all that is there is only clay. It should first know what is clay. So that is the who am I question. Because all the time I am thinking I am only pot, no. So the pot is not even knowing that it is clay. Though its existence itself is clay only, right? There is no existence other than it being clay. But it doesn't recognize, suppose, that it is clay. Then it has all the problem. Even though it actually doesn't have any problem, it has all the problems of pot. And so when Shastra says all that is here is Brahma, all this, whatever I said for pot is what is our problem, right? Exactly same. There are conclusions. See, luckily pot doesn't have any conclusions about itself, right? But we have all kinds of conclusions. We have guilt of our past, we have hurt of our past, present, future. When I see one person, immediately that person evokes some response in me. So, people are unacceptable to me and I am also unacceptable to me, right? My behavior is not fully acceptable to me, right? And my looks are unacceptable to me, the way I think it's not. So, everything about me is unacceptable. And the level of knowledge I have is unacceptable to me. I am very limited, I can only know this much. And then I am today here, I am not at home, right? I am so time-wise I am limited, space-wise I am limited, object-wise I am limited. Now when all that is here is Brahma, which includes time and space, then all this problem is solved, right? So that is what Shastra says. Now should I believe it? Okay, is the question. So we say you don't have to believe. It is not a matter for belief, because if all that is here is Brahma, you should also be Brahma, right? Simple. If when I am saying you are Brahma, you cannot say I will believe it, right? Because it's about you. See, if I say this cloth is made of, not of cotton, it is made of some resin. Suppose you don't know, you can say, okay, you are an intelligent guy, so you are saying I believe you, right? But I am telling you that you are not this limited entity. You are Brahma, which is like all that is here. You cannot say I don't believe it. But you can ask a question. How is it that I don't know that if I am Brahma, I should know? Okay. Then we say that you haven't even started looking at what you are. You have just assumed you are so and so and you are progressing. Right? Have you even analyzed who you are? That is where the entry of Shastra comes. Okay. The other problem is, why do you need Shastra? You are saying you are Brahma. If you are Brahma, you should know, or if you don't know also, some book cannot come and tell, that means it's a matter of belief only, right? Book can only give you a knowledge, let's say, how does a bison look? It can give a description. You can have a vague knowledge about what is bison. But it cannot be a knowledge, so why should I even look at a book? It can only give a knowledge about something which is vague. If I need to know myself, first of all, I don't accept I don't know myself, because it is me. If you ask me, I say I am so and so, I have studied here, I am this. So I cannot accept that I don't know myself. And even if I have to know myself, how can a book reveal you? Okay, that is the question. So because it is you, Shastra says you are not totally unknown to you. Okay, you cannot say I don't know myself at all. Okay. So there are parts of you already know, but what you exactly you are, you don't know. Okay. So that is the premise of Shastra. Now, how do you know yourself? You cannot investigate and know yourself. An eyes cannot see itself. So eyes can see a color, but can an eye, my own eyes see itself? It cannot. Right? So I only can see what I can objectify. Now, when I have to see myself, I cannot go and search for me and find myself out. So the only way I can know myself, how does eyes know itself, is only through a mirror. Okay. A mirror makes your eyes see itself. Likewise, the Shastra is like a mirror. So through words, you are made to recognize who you are. That's how Shastra works. So the words itself becomes a means for you to know yourself. And there is a methodology to teach that. Okay. I wouldn't say teach that, to give the vision. Okay. It's called a vision because you, at the end of it, you will see what it is. So when I say you see, you will recognize that fact. Okay. And that is called the Vedic vision. And that vision is revealed through words. And these words have to be handled properly so that the vision happens. Okay. So in order for you, so I am covering a lot of things, but I hope you are able to understand it. Right? So it needs to be handled properly. And that handling properly has to be handed over, because since I said, okay, this is a little complicated again, right? So I'll slow down. Since I said you need somebody has to show you the mirror to know, you cannot yourself go and find out, which means whoever knows it should have only known it from somebody else. Somebody should have shown a mirror to you, to us, so that we have known. And our Guru should have known when somebody showed mirror to him. His Guru should have also known that way. Where does it end? Who was the first one? So you have to only say Bhagavan, because who is the first person? My father, his father. We say world was created 10,000 years. How do you know? And how does suddenly it get created, right? Anyone who is the first guy, he should have also had a father, no? So where does the first stop? It's like asking the question, what is outside the space? See, the question itself is a spatial question. What was there before time? Means what? That also is a time only, no? So now there is no time outside or the ending of beginning of time, space, or birth, or this Shastra starting. Right? So that is why we say at the creation, if there was a creation, Veda has to have been there at the time of creation, because a human could not have created it. So now Bhagavad Gita, that's why how does Vyasa present it? Bhagavan himself came and gave it. Okay, and he himself claims, Bhagavan claims that imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam. When the creation was done to Vivaswan, the son who was created initially, to him I gave this. And then only Manu came. Vivaswan, Manave Praya, Manu Ikshvaku. So from Manu the whole creation starts. So that means before the creation it was given. Means it's part of the creation. So Bhagavan also claimed that means, and Bhashyakara means Shankaracharya. He says, in what way has he given it? In the form of Veda. In the form of Veda, the creation, this was given by Bhagavan. Okay. So that is why Gita becomes a pramana for us. Okay. Now, let's now get into, so Jiveshwara Samvada, right? So now, this Jiva and Ishvara, the way it is presented, again see I am saying, way it is presented, and Bhagavan, all that, see there is a Shraddha there. Okay, I don't want to contest the Shraddha that Bhagavan himself came. Okay. Now we talk about how is the Bhagavan coming, there is a Avatarvada and all that. We talk about Avatara. If the Bhagavan can be in the form of this whole Jagat, why can't he bring himself in as one of the actors? Like in your dream, you are creating the whole dream and you are also there in the dream. Okay, you are creating you and the rest of the things also in your dream. So that means you are a character within your dream which you created. Likewise, Bhagavan also, who is in the form of this Jagat, he can come as one actor inside. Okay, and that's why he claims, Yada yada hi dharmasya glane bhavati abhyutana vadharmasya tada atmanam srijamyam, he says. So that's how the Avataravada is spoken about. But still, even if we assume that this is only a presentation by Vyasa, so Vyasa presented if a Jivatma talks to a Paramatma, which is Ishvara. Again, Ishvara, I will talk about Ishvara because we need to understand what is Ishvara. Ishvara is not God. Okay. So, so this Jiva and Ishvara, they have a dialogue. Okay. If there was a dialogue between Jiva and Ishvara, how will that be? How will Ishvara present himself or itself or herself? It doesn't matter. And how will, what kind of issues a Jiva will have and how will it be addressed? That is the whole presentation. And that too in a battlefield, the most complicated situation he can get. And he covers it all the way, from the mundane, what is right and wrong, to if you are a Brahmavastu, how will you look at it? Okay, so at every level it covers. Okay, from a pep talk to a big jnanam he gives in this Bhagavad Gita. Now talking about Ishvara, okay, now Brahman, finally Brahman is presented as a Nirguna Vastu. It is a reality. Okay. It doesn't get involved in creation or anything because there is no creation. Is how we finally, that is the truth. Okay. The truth is everything else is as though creation. Like the clay has become a pot. Has it really become a pot? Clay was clay. Clay is clay. Clay will be clay. And there is actually no pot. Okay. If you look at pot, pot is not neither inside the clay, nor it is on top of clay, nor it is born any time, nor it dies. Okay. When you touch the pot, you are touching clay. When you weigh the pot, you are weighing clay. If you don't want to call it a pot also, you can still call it a clay only, right? So now, is there a creation? There is only an as though creation. Okay. So we say there is actually the no creation. That means there is only Nirguna Brahmastu. There is no created Jagat. But if I tell you that, you won't believe it because you are sitting here listening to me, right? So that means how can you say there is no creation? So we start from where we are. Okay. Then and also even after gaining the jnanam, there is a vyavahara. Even after knowing that I am clay, you still have to put water and keep it in the pot. You cannot say there is no difference between pot and a lid and then keep 10 liters of water on a lid. Okay, you still have to use the pot. So a jnani also has to eat food. Okay, it's not that. So there is a vyavaharika satya. So Ishvara comes into picture for this kind of a creation. Clay has become a pot. So who created the pot? So we have to say Ishvara created the pot. Then finally we say there is no pot at all. Then where is the need for Ishvara, right? So the created Jagat, from its perspective we talk about Ishvara. Okay. Now that Ishvara is, now there cannot be many Ishvaras because there is only one Vastu, Brahma Vastu. So that Ishvara, that is what he said, Jagat Karanam Brahma. He used the term, I don't know if you noticed that. There is a Nirgunam Brahma we talk about, and then there is a Saguna Brahma which is called Jagat Karanam Brahma. So from the word that you are as though seeing, right, the as though part you are seeing, from that perspective, the clay becomes a cause. So we say, make a statement, from the clay, the pot is born. Okay. Actually, there is no pot born. There is nothing called pot. But with reference to pot, we say, from the clay, this pot is born. Like that, we have to say, from this Brahma, this Jagat is born. So that is called Jagat Karanam Brahma. The non-existent Jagat Karanam is Brahma. That's why we say it is Maya Karyam. Okay? As though Srishti is there. No, that is what is called Jagat Karanam Brahma or Ishvara. No, but then that Ishvara also cannot be simplified, because if you look at the manifest Jagat, like I said, there is so much of intelligence, right? And we also are helpless as an individual. I still am helpless. I have so many issues, like my health issues are there, my emotional issues are there are so many other things, and these seem to be working in an order. So everything is an order. There is an order to how the eyes see, how the nose breathe, how the heart function, how the lungs function, right? And then I don't consciously make my heart work or the lungs work, right? There is an intelligence which is making them function, and these are all intelligent functions. And when the earth is going around the sun, it is an intelligent function, because otherwise if 2 degrees it deviates, the whole thing is gone, right? That means it has to be kept in its orbit, it has to rotate, because in 5 days there is no night, then it becomes a problem, right? So there won't be any plants, whatever, right? So everything is in an order. And this order is continuously a conscious order. It's not like one time it was created and he left it, right? So it has to be consistently work the same way. That means every phenomenon works, and totality also it works. It is symbiotically they have to work. The eyes have to work, nose have to work, together also they have to work. Okay. So that means individual intelligence is there, and the collective is also there. So the individual intelligence are called devatas. He spoke about devatas, right? Every individual intelligence, because eyes itself is an intelligence. You can't reduce an eyes intelligence to a collective intelligence, right? There is a specialization in eyes. That's why each area there are so much of research continuously going on, right? Even now it hasn't stopped. That means there is so much intelligence that keep on evolving, right? In the sense your understanding keeps evolving. So that means there is so much intelligence in eyesight. There is so much intelligence in how lung function, how heart functions, whatever, right? So that is why each one is a devata. It is in its own intelligence. And then there is a collective intelligence, because they all have to work together. There is symbiotic existence, right? So like I said, the light has to be there, the sun has to be there, and then my eyes also have to work. Then only I can see you. So this is called collective intelligence, is what we call as Ishvara. Okay. And this individual jiva with this kind of a body mind sense complex needs help. Okay. I can't have control on anything. When I sleep today, there is no guarantee I will wake up tomorrow, right? So there is so much of intelligence and help that is needed for me in every way, in emotional way, physical way, in the way the world functions around me, how my wife talks to me, everything, I have to pray, right? So the whole thing, we need help. So Bhagavan, and also I need emotional help to grow. So Ishvara is not dismissible at all. Okay. So, and Ishvara is also needed, because I need to seek help. As a Vedanti also I seek help. So Ishvara, Bhagavan also we need to understand them. So, and we need to recognize and relate to, then only we will grow. So the Ishvara becomes important, the Jnana becomes important, how we understand the Jagat becomes important. And Veda doesn't also, one last thing about Bhagavad Gita is, while Veda reveals who you are and all that, it doesn't give a step-by-step method of how you make yourself eligible for it, even though it touches upon it. That portion of things Bhagavad Gita fills up. Okay. Bhagavan gives very detailed view on how you, this chapter for example is Dhyana Yoga, right? He talks about how should Dhyana be done, right? And the methodology, even though Upasanas are spoken about in Vedas and all that, but the structured way by which this is filled up in Bhagavad Gita. So whatever is, Swamiji used to say, whatever is left unsaid in Shruti, the Smriti fills up. Okay. In fact, the standard quote about Smriti is Kalidasa says in Raghuvamsa, this Nandini, one cow, the Guru Rishi asks his Gautama or somebody to go and go behind that Nandini and see where all it goes. And he follows it, exactly how it goes, he follows. For that, Kalidasa gives Drishtanta. He follows the cow just like how Smriti Granthas follow Shruti, is how he uses. So, this becomes an example for that. Okay, that means this is like taken for granted, right? Everybody knows Smriti follows Shruti, so he uses that as an example. Okay. So this, what I was trying to say, Smriti fills up. Okay, whatever is left unsaid in Shruti. That is why Bhagavad Gita becomes very important. Okay. Now coming to 6th chapter. So this Dhyana, meditation is something these days is spoken about, right? There are so many, somebody spoke about Kriya and that Sudarshana Kriya, a lot of these things. But again, everybody gives a typical problem is, I am not able to, while all these things I do, but I am not able to balance. I am not able to control my thought, mind, and I have complexes, guilt and hurt. There are a lot of things which disturb me. So that is where the context of Dhyana becomes very important. Okay. So in Bhagavad Gita, the way the Dhyana Yoga is brought in is after Karma Yoga. So Bhagavan here in this chapter he says, Arurukshor Muner Yogam Karma Karana Uchyate Yoga Rudasya Tasyeva Shamah Karana Uchyate. He differentiates. Only a person who has become eligible for yoga, Aruda, one who has qualified as a yogi, for that person only this Dhyana and all that is spoken about, Shama and all these things. So for you to even become eligible to meditate, Karma Yoga has to be done. Okay, only when Raga, we will talk about Karma Yoga and all in the next sessions that we have. But I am just positioning where the Dhyana is, right, in the context. So after you do Karma Yoga and you have resolved your Raga Dvesha, your emotional stability is attained, then only you start, you can still do a little bit of meditation, I am not saying don't do it. But the context of meditation is after having done Karma Yoga and you have become Yoga Rudaha, this is actually an Antaranga Sadhana for Jnana. Okay, it is Bhashyakara presents it as there is a Bahiranga Sadhana and Antaranga Sadhana. Okay. Anga means a limb. Okay. So Anga, Angi means the one who is inside, Anga means a limb, right? So Antaranga Sadhana means it is a limb which is inside. So that's why in Upanishad, the Upasanas are also part of Upanishad. But Karma Kanda is before Upanishad. Okay. So the Upasana becomes part of your Jnana. So the Dhyana, the 6th chapter is part of your Jnana only. So that is why you should have qualified yourself for the Jnana before you can actually start this. That's why even the 13th chapter, Jnanam, Etat Jnanam Iti Proktam and all he spoke about, is also in the same context only. It becomes an Upasana. See, why this differentiation we will probably see in the next session is because there is this concept of sannyasa. Okay, we have to look at how the Gita is in the context of those days when Varnashrama was intact. So this whole idea of sannyasa means you have to give up karma. In those days, when before a person becomes a sannyasi, there is a Vaidika karma anushtana needs to be done. Okay. Now, when they talk about Dhyanam, this is not about doing it for 20 minutes a day. Okay. Here the Dhyana Yoga is, you give up all karma and you are fully into this Brahma Dhyana, okay, which is called Nididhyasana. Actually, the 6th chapter is about Nididhyasana. We will talk about all that during the course of things. So, for you to be fully entrenched in this Brahmanishta, you should have already done your Karma Yoga and should have qualified yourself for it. Which means that person is actually taking up sannyasa. Okay? That is why it is positioned after you have qualified, you do this dhyana. So that is the context of this chapter. Okay? So we will talk about it in that context. But of course, some of the techniques that Bhagavan is talking about will be applicable even if you are doing your meditation at home. So I am not saying don't do it. But because when you understand, when you have to study this 6th chapter, right, you need to know the context in which he speaks. Because the first shloka itself, he will say, Anashrita karma palam karyam karma karoti, yaha saha sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnihi na chakriyaha. The sannyasi is not the one who has given up the fire rituals, but he is the one who has actually done karma yoga and is a collected person. That is how he starts. Now you need to understand why is he suddenly talking about fire ritual. I am not even doing any fire ritual. So how is it applicable to me, right? So we have to adopt it. So that's where Puji Swamiji and all have adopted it to the modern context, right? Otherwise, this Gita, in today's context, there is no Varnashrama. So neither are somebody is doing a Kshatriya Dharma, or Brahmana Dharma, or Vaishya Dharma, or anything like that. So now, but still Gita has to be applicable for everybody at all ages, right? So then you have to relook at Karma Yoga in today's context. See, otherwise in those days when you say Karma Yoga, then it will say Nishpala Karma, Nishkamya Karma. Then that means only Nitya Karma you have to do. You don't do any you do Nitya Karma, Naimitya Karma, don't do Kamya Karma. That is how the Shastra will say. Today neither we do Nitya Karma nor Naimitya Karma, we do only Kamya Karma, right? So now not even Kamya Karma as said by Veda, we do Laukika Karma only, the worldly activities only we do. So in worldly activity, how can you still adopt what Bhagavan is saying? Is what our recent acharyas have, like our Swamiji and all, have adopted Bhagavad Gita to the modern context. So when we talk about it, we will look at it both ways. Okay, what is in those days context, because Shankaracharya will be talking in that context. Now how can you adopt it in today's world? Because it is still relevant, right? So we will see that. So that is the context of, so I think we have covered what is the Smriti, what is the context, how the Bhagavad Gita context is, and what is the context of 6th chapter. Okay, so just 5-7 minutes, but I think it's a good logical point to say. We will continue. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari